Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we're finally going to get around to putting some of the mods on this Sin Racing F450 that I've had for a few weeks now. Got a whole box of goodies here, some tools to work with, so we're going to go ahead and show you a few step by step. I ain't going to record every bit of it, but show you some of the steps in turning it from what you're seeing right here in front of you So we're going to go ahead and remove the body clips and see if we can show you what this thing's all about for anybody that hasn't messed with one of these before. I did go ahead and do one slight thing to it. It ain't really a modification and it's very simple. The truck was sitting in a bad nosedive like most new vehicles, which I can't stand. So I went ahead and simply cranked up the shocks. Let me show you here. Just turn these right here, raised it up. Truck's still got plenty of suspension, no big deal. We went ahead and raised those up so we could actually have some clearance. Let me get all this body out of the way here and we'll get into some of these modifications. Now the first thing I'm going to do, which is very, very simple and don't require a whole lot of disassembly, when we get into the back end we're going to have some disassembly, but we're going to put this new front bumper on this thing. Let me go ahead and get it cut open here. Now what I had ordered is a front bumper, back bumper kit, and if you order from Sin Racing, right here, instead of me reading it, right there is the information on it. There's the part number. And what it comes with, excuse me, well, these are plastic, these are not aluminum, is a new rear bumper. This is our front bumper we're going with, and yeah, you've got to actually modify the body. You've got to cut the factory molded bumpers off of it, and I'm kind of dreading that a little bit, but we're going to get into that. But there's the front bumper. Comes with a new hitch. Extensions where you mount the front bumper. All the little goodies you put on there for little screws and stuff to mount it with, all the little tow hooks and stuff you put on it. But right here, I got two different kits, and I'll show you right here in a minute. Here's what we're going to use on this truck. They actually frame extensions. That's the reason I said we're going to do the front first. It's going to be the back will be a little more intense. But let me get stuff wound around here. Oh, here we go. Let's go ahead and look at this. This is the actual hitch we're going to use on the rear. Let me go ahead and hold it so you can get the number on it. And that's what we're going to use on the back end of it. And it is aluminum. That other one's plastic. The one that's currently on is plastic. I don't know if you can see this. It ain't like we're going to be towing big loads of this, but I went ahead and put aluminum on it just to make sure. So let me go ahead and get some tools out right here and see if we can't take this front bumper off. Take the current front bumper off. Yes, I am going to do the unthinkable and look at the directions, and there is some assembly required before we actually put this thing on. There's also some disassembly required before we put this thing on. We may make this a two-part video because this is going to be kind of slow. I don't want to make a half-hour video, or I may make it one video about 20 minutes and break it down. I don't know. Let's see what we'll do here. This foam padding goes under the body on the factory setup. That way if you run it into something or whatever, you're not gonna, it's gonna absorb it. You're not gonna totally tear up everything. We're going to hang on to all these parts. I don't suspect we'll ever use them, but we're going to hang on to these parts just in case we want to do something or put it back, or who knows. Like I said, we got to modify the body, so I don't suspect we'll ever use them again, but I'm bad to hang on to stuff. All right, we got this all out of the way. Now what's got to happen, I've got to go ahead and get the front bumper. Let me get this back here. The front bumper has actually got to mount onto all of this. So we got to get that set up here, how it goes, and then that's going to mount onto there. It's a whole process. This has to come off there. Anyway, let me get a couple things set up and we'll get the camera going again here and get back to recording. Like I mentioned, there is some assembly required or pre-assembly on this front bumper. I went ahead and these right here are headlight. If you want to put the marker light buckets in or whatever, you got to pop those in. They just simply pop back into the hole. like that. They snap in, there's no glue required. And if you want to use a light kit on this thing, you can, but I don't suspect I'll put one on it, I don't know. Then you've got these here tow hooks. They just simply go right here, and then you run a screw through here like this. Now I'm not Loctiting any of this stuff. Once I get it all together, I'll take it back apart and one piece at a time and do some Loctiting. But currently I just haven't, it's the wrong screw. Currently I just haven't got any in here to use, so I'm not going to fool with it. I've got to actually pick up some. Get the right size driver. I don't think these are going to fall out anyway. Like I said, this is not going to be a course truck. Probably be a shelf queen in the garage. I got a trailer idea I want to do for it. Like most of the ones you see out there, people have trailers and this and that and the other. You line that up right there. I'm not going to show you the whole process, but there you put those tow hooks on like that. And let me get that done and get this bracket mounted up right here. It mounts in from the back side like this, and according to how high you're wanting to mount it, you'd mount it in the different holes right there. So I've got to get that figured out. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and mount this up and get everything ready. And I checked there a minute ago as I was starting, and what you've got to do is take, let me go ahead and show you this here. Take those, I'm going to lay them over here separate. And you're actually taking part of your front suspension apart loose. Taking your front suspension apart, and you're going to have a bunch of it hanging around loose. So you got to be careful with it. See, this right here is just going to kind of flop down now your torsion bars, and the truck will fall down because you've not got nothing except the shocks holding the front end of it up, but it'll all be good. We're going to save these screws because we're going to use them back right here in just a second. I'll show you how this mounts on there. Alright, see how that just drops down? You're not going to hurt nothing. You pull this right off. Pull that right off out of the way. Then we'll get this front bumper mounted. This will go right back on there, and all that will mount right back up. So I'm going to mount this bumper to the bracket. Be right back. I'm going to go ahead and do this part off camera, but I'm going to go ahead and show you right here what's got to happen. All along this line where the molded bumper meets the grill, I've got to cut every bit of that off because this right here is going to take place of it, okay? So I'm going to do this off camera, and I've got a knife like this with it's got a brand new blade. So what I'm going to do after watching some videos myself to kind of figure out how to do this, we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut it right along here very easily, just score it and make several passes. We're not going to try to do it all at once because I want to get a defined line for this blade to slide through, go through, make several passes, and try to work it like that. Then I may have to do a little fine tuning, but I'm going to do all that off camera and I'll show you the result. Okay, that was a painstaking about 20-minute process. Like I say, you got to run your knife. I used it when I showed you there and made several passes. Go ahead and close that. Several passes along that line, that right in that V. And the only part that I really slipped on was on this piece and scarred it, but it's going to be going in the trash anyway, so it don't matter. Now, as you can see, what's going to happen, I've got to figure out what height, because there's several holes right here that this can sit in. I got to figure out what height I want this bumper to set and mount that bracket on there. And then from that point, so you might want to set it down like that, which don't look right. That's up too tight. So I got to figure out where I want it to set right there. Mount that bracket on there, and then we'll go ahead and finish the installation of the front bumper and move on to the back, which is going to be a challenge. All right, we're going to set this body back off. We'll go ahead and get this front bumper mounted up to it. So like I said before at the beginning of the video, all this is the recommended mounting holes right here for it, by the way, and everything did fit up. The light buckets are ready. The buckets are in case I ever want to put lights or whatever. For the reassembly process, all you've got to do is slide these right back in there. They'll stop. It goes to a dead stop. It only goes so far. Then we've got to get these mounts right here twisted back up in the right position, get the screws, and that mounts your torsion bar back up. So I'm gonna try to do that on camera as best as possible. Let's see if I can get the camera at a better angle here. Show you right quick, this is not a paid advertisement by any means, but the screwdrivers and driver set that I'm using in this, they come in different sizes. I've got the 1.5, the 2mm, the 2.5, and the 3. Ordered them off Amazon. Hobby Park, I'm sorry. Like I said, that's not a paid promotion or anything. I'm getting nothing from it, but so far they've turned out to be a really good set. Now, I want to get a set you put in a drill or a impact and run them, but I know how I am, and a lot of times I might accidentally run the impact just a little too long and strip something out, and when doing these little things you've kind of got a mess. Like I said, it's recommended. I should be putting Loctite, but I'm just doing this for the sake of assembly to show you how everything goes. I will take this stuff back apart. Even though this plastic, you're not supposed to have to Loctite it. Some of the stuff back there goes in metal, so I will be Loctiting it later. Although this truck ain't going to be out and beating and banging, I don't want it to fall apart. So we'll flip this right around here, repeat on this side. There's no use in recording it, so we'll be right back with you when I get this set up, show you the results. Alright, let's go ahead and put the body back on here and show you what the front end looks like when it's all finished. If I can, there we go. Better view of what the front end looks like. Not because I did it, but I think that changed the whole truck. Made a lot better look. Well, that's about the only modification we got going on the front end right now. Like I say, later we might do some lights and some things, but right now I'm not really interested in that, not really worried about it. It's time to move on to the back of the truck. Like I said, I'm not sure if it's going to be a 1 or a 2 segment video, but we're going to move to the back of the truck and I'll show you what goodies we got for back there. For one, like I said earlier, we got these rails right here. The back bumper bracket, and we got the Sin Racing aluminum trailer tow hitch. We're going to go ahead and put it on there. Get it opened up here. I've only run into one hiccup so far. These loops that go on the back bumper, they require some really small screws, and they didn't include them in the pack. They just included in enough to put on the front bumper, so I'm going to have to round up some of those at the local hardware or somewhere to try to get some screws. Minor detail, but a little bit aggravating. I want to use writing them or getting bent out of shape about it. It's just I'll have to hunt some, unless there might be some in this pack that I could use. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get ready to put this aluminum bumper on there, or aluminum tow hitch rather. So let's get this thing turned around and we'll move from that point. There's 2 ways you can do this. You can either use these components right here, where you can kind of cheat and only take a little bit of this stuff apart and slide these up in there. But I think we're going to use those on a future project. And I'm going to go ahead and replace this entire frame rail, which starts, if you can see it. Let me slide all these parts and pieces. We're going to go ahead and use this frame rail, which actually starts right here. So we're going to take all this stuff loose, and we're going to replace this all the way back, and that way the hitch sets a hitch back here at the back where it goes. Now, the best I can tell, there's no way to 100% mess this up unless you do what I did right there. So let's go ahead and get the correct frame rail for this side. There, that's much better. See, that fits right up there. The screw holes are going to line up right here, straight in there, into that screw like that, and everything's going to line up all the way back. And that stick out the back. Look, I got the hitch out of the pack, and I just wanted y'all to take a look at this thing for anybody that hasn't seen it. You got the aluminum receiver hitch that goes in there. Now, I don't have any trailers for this thing yet. There you go, folks. This is a pretty neat little outfit. So let's tighten this up on there. Like here again, I stressed earlier, all this stuff will get Loctited, but just not at the moment. This will slide right up when I get this receiver on there. slide right up in there, and we're not going to be using a pin or anything. Of course, whenever I get it set where we want it, there is a, if you can see it, I don't know if I get it in focus, put a screw right straight through right there. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get this started breaking down. From what I can tell, we're going to have to loosen these towers. Basically, everything's going to have to come loose. So I'm going to probably use the handy dandy drill. Well, that ain't going to work because it's going to have to be propped up. Nope, we'll find something. We'll get her set up. Or just let it hit the ground, whatever. Let me get started. We'll be right back with you. Alright, you'll notice I've already took the rear hitch off of it, the one that was stuck way up under there. I don't know, I guess that's for a shorter frame application. Right now I'm going to have to take the battery box loose. I'll show you on one side, then I'll do the other one off camera. Keeping up with all these screws because they're all same. You don't really have to put them back in the same spot, but I'm going to try to put the screws back pretty much in the same spot they come out of. One side plate at a time. Of course, I'm not going to disassemble the whole thing. Just let it fly. But the other side will be exactly like this one. What we've got right here, and let's go ahead and take the shock tower loose. It's kind of hard to film and do this at the same time, but here we go. Now there's some other stuff I've got to go on this after a while. It all won't have to come back apart, but some of it will. Some of them's a little bit aggravating to get your fingers into, but yep, I'm going to have to go ahead and take this shock loose, so I'm going to do that right now in order to get that screw loose behind it. Just remember which holes some of this stuff comes out of, because there is multiple places to mount this stuff. It's pretty set up pretty much. You could build this thing in several configurations. Probably plumb down to, let's say, a regular cab standard bed if they made the body and stuff for it. But I'm gonna leave mine as a 4-door dually. Like I say, you could have done it without all this, but I didn't want to piece the frame. I wanted to go ahead and put the frame together. Long pieces, like I said, we're not going to be pulling obviously big loads of this thing, of course, but you know, still, I'd rather not have to do it. Now this frame rail, this side right here, I like one piece having it to where this frame rail will come off. I'm going to record this side right here and how it starts back and goes back together, and then the other side I'll do off camera. All these screws I'm trying to keep together. All should fit back, but I'm just, I don't know if you call it OCD or just want to make sure that I get the thing back together. I really don't want it falling apart. This little piece right here goes on the back, and that helps hold the thing together. This frame rail right now should, yep, pop right off. There's what's coming off of it. Get the right one this time. And this is what's going back on it. You see the difference? What it's going to do is going to go ahead and kick that receiver all the way back here, extend the frame back like it should be instead of stopping it short. So we're going to put this thing back together carefully, making sure we get it in the same two holes and all that, which there's only one place you can mount this thing right here. Those two holes right there. Well, I'm going to take back what I just told you, because apparently there's more than one place you can mount that. Here again, folks, I'm no expert at this. I'm fairly new at it, so I'm going to have no choice but to use the drill. Try to raise that right there up a little. Okay. Watch how this goes back on. You've got to line it up with this rear hole right here. That way the arch starts in the correct spot to clear the wheel well, and everything's going to line up. So let me move the camera just a second so I can see what I'm doing, and I'll get right back with you. Okay, you need to make sure you get this little block right here back in the right spot. I'm going to use this right here as a guide tool to help me get this little block back where it goes. Like I said, it's kind of hard to film and get your fingers up under here to work, but maybe we can pull this off without breaking anything. Guide that piece right into place like that. Then I'm going to take my other driver, which actually fits the tap itself, or the screw rather, I'm sorry. Get right in here and start it. You've not got to worry about alignment, because when this frame rail right here snaps over top of that one, it is a really, really tight fit. Everything's in line. Like I said, I went ahead and started these screws. Got those started back in there. And I may regret the not lock tighten it as I go thing here, but I want to go back later because that stuff's really messy to work with, and I ain't going to try to do no filming. Or messy for me anyway. We've got all these screws back tied in your battery for your tray mounts. Now if I go with a longer battery, a bigger battery rather, I'm going to have to switch trays. Right here I've got a, I'm going to run this thing as a Traxxas battery. What I did was, where I bought it, they made me an adapter to where I could plug right in the factory, which is this one here. This little adapter cost about $6 and let me run Traxxas batteries, which I already have. If I'm going to run 2-cell, now keep in mind this thing is not a 3-cell application, it's 2-cell only. So I've got this 5800. I've also got a 72. I've not got it in here with me, but I've got a 72. But this 58 fits perfect right down inside that tray. You don't have no modifications. If I'm going to run the bigger battery and successfully mount it, I'm going to have to either cut the front of the tray out, which I really don't want to do. It lets your battery could slide forward or whatever. I'm probably going to cut another piece of plastic and lay across this, take this tray and cut it in half and mount it down to that and slide the front of the tray forward to allow the other battery, because in the future I do want to go with a larger motor. This thing has a RS550 engine in it, so, or motor. I'm going to probably go bigger later, may convert it to a 3S and all that, but that's future applications. Right now I just want to run it 2S and just enjoy it. So anyway, I went ahead, like I say, and started all these screws back, got everything lined up. Now this shock tower, you got to put all that back in, don't forget that. But while I've got this loose, there is another piece that I've got. Might as well go ahead and break it out. And right here's the part number, right here's the setup on it. It's a gooseneck hitch set. So you got to actually modify another place on the body to put this thing on there, but I want to go ahead. I wasn't going to open it till last and put it on, but so you got to take that shock tower loose, so that's going to be that. So we'll just do it right now. It is all machined aluminum right there. Pretty neat outfit. I figured why not just go for it. It comes with that. It comes with the, we'll get all this out, the ball, the trailer hitch part when you do build a trailer to put it on. But it has to go in between those shock towers, and you've got to remove these and switch them out. So let's just go ahead and get that done right now while we're at it. Once again, I want to look at the directions to make positive which way this doggone thing turns, because I'm a little leery of that. And it does show, you'll notice that it's either turn it this way, which kicks the hitch forward, or turn it that way, which kicks the hitch backwards. And the directions is showing it goes like this to push the hitch forward on the truck to line up with the hole in the bed. So we'll go ahead and take this tower off right here, and we'll get that mounted up. Part of this will be reused. We'll pull this pin out. It's in the, keeps the body locked on there. Go ahead and take that. Slide this up out of there. This piece right here will not be reused. So this will go right back in its place. The shock will mount up right in where one of these goes. This is where the drill and the bit would be nice, but I know what'll happen. I'll strip the holes out and then I'll have something burnt. All right, go ahead and get that mounted right there. It is all pre-drilled, pre-threaded. I mean, they really stepped it up on these aluminum components. They've got them nice. Run that right in there, and this will be a place that'll be good for Loctite. You're not running into plastic, you're running into metal screw into a metal hole. So excellent, excellent place for Loctite. This body mount, get everything in focus here where you can see what's going on. This body mount, just go right back down in there like this. Turn that toward the rear. And put that clip right back in it. So we're gonna go ahead and get this. All right, this is just a test fit. I've got the body sitting on there, nothing's tight. Right here's the receiver. I've got it in there, the hitch. I still got to bore the hole in the bed and put all that up. But I want to tell you all, you need to be careful when you take this thing apart. I have dropped a piece on it, which I can make something to replace it. But there's a little spacer goes right through here before the screw goes in, and I somewhere dropped it in the floor and I can't find it. So this build is taking just a little longer, but that's no big deal. I can make something that'll work in there, or get on the website and pick up another one. It's not a big thing. But I want to show you this right quick. Be sure and test it out. Test your body mount locations. I may have to raise this up to the next notch to make it work, but anyway, you get the gist of it. So we've got this side all tightened back up. Let me show you, put a little light on the thing here and you can see a little better. This sway bar that comes in from the bottom end right here, the sway bar that comes in right there is a little aggravating. You got to take these two screws out, and there's one from the bottom. But I went ahead and tightened all this one side back up. That way I could show you what the finished product on that. I haven't got the hitch on or anything back here, but right there we are on that. Now we still got to put the sway bar. And when I go to put the sway bar in, there's going to be spacers. Let me swing one of these up here and show you. It mounts back right here. There's going to be a spacer because before that other piece of the hitch was right here, so I got to put a washer in there that'll hold that and get it all mounted back. So I'm going to do that off camera and I'll show you the finished results. It's hard to film, like I said earlier, it's hard to film this and get in there too. I'm going to set the camera up the best I can while I put this side back together. Alright, like I say, I dropped the little spacer piece that goes in there, but I think I'm going to be able to come up with something here in a minute that's going to work. Right now, I'm just going to run a screw up in there for the time being to hold it. So let's get that done. This is the screw that goes to it. We'll run it right through there. Get it started right there, and I'm just going to throw it up in there just to pick this up. I'm sorry, I've got the camera right in the way. That way it'll hold itself up. I'll take that back out here in a minute and make a spacer on my own and put it up there, because that's got to be there, or else the shock will come off. Got to put these screws in that goes right here, those two there, and there's one here I got to put in. So we're going to get all those in. Then we're going to work on this spacer and this sway bar. So just stick around and we'll show you that. Alright, I'm going to have to record some of this on my phone. The GoPro died. This thing, not going to lie, takes more hands and fingers than a human's got. You got to get this spacer right down in there. Get those taps started on there. Hold that in line at the same time you're doing that. So that's the reason I couldn't do it on the camera. This side here I haven't done yet. I'm going to try to get a screw started through here. Had to go get some full-size tools to work with to hold that. That's the only way I could get it to work. So I'm gonna get that done and we'll get this hole cut. And I may have to raise those body pins up one notch, looks like, to make everything, these body pins here, to make everything line back up. The body looks like it's doing the Carolina squat, and we're not gonna have that. So just a second, I'll get back with you. We've also got to put the hitch ball in. We'll get to all that here in just a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and get these here back on, and we'll work on this rear hitch. We're about ready to wrap this thing up and put the body on. Well, here's another part I'm not really looking forward to, but we're going to use a stepper bit, and we're going to bore that hole out right there for the fifth wheel hitch to come right up through. So I'm going to go ahead and bore that out. Like I said, I hate my GoPro died. I can't film part of this while I'm doing it, but trust me, it's not going to be fun. I'm going to try to get it dead center and drop it down on there. The only thing I may have to do is adjust these two posts, tilt them forward or backward just a little, but we'll get into that here in just a minute. Let's drill this hole out. Looks like everything fits just fine. Got the hole drilled in the right spot. The only thing is I'm going to have to go ahead and trim this back bumper, take it off because it's hitting the hitch. It sticks back here and it won't let the body go down far enough. It looks like we got everything adjusted right, got the squat out of it, which we're not gonna have. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the camera off once again and trim the body real carefully using this knife right here. Gotta clean that up before she gets home. Nah, we'll get that all cleaned up, dump this off here and try to cut this bumper off the body. So we'll be back here in a few minutes with no bad luck, and we'll have it ready to set on there and ready to install the bumper. Stay tuned. Complete with the new front bumper and hooks. Spin this thing around. We've got the, I haven't put the pins back in here, but we've got the gooseneck hitch right here at the ball. We've got the back bumper, the receiver hitch, tow hooks. Had to do the body modification. Let's go ahead and pop the body off here and I'll show you. This is what the finished product looks like up under the body. Shocks. All this mounted back. See, we run these bars right here that run all the way back. Where those others stop short, they're all metal. That's the reason I went ahead. I could have put these extensions and saved some trouble on the back of the frame rails that were there, but I just didn't want to do it that way. All this is machined aluminum, goes in here. And that's what it looks like. That's the finished product. Still got other plans for it in the future, but that's that. Now let's get to the body. Now that was the least fun part of all of it, and I still got a little trimming and a little straightening up to do. What I had to do was cut the back bumper off, and trust me folks, that was not fun. It was kind of tedious. I had a good sharp brand new knife blade. You'll see I made a little bit of I gotta straighten that up just a little bit, get a file and work that down there. Made a mislick or two on the bumper, but it's fixing to go in the trash anyway. And on the front, there's what the front looks like. We had to trim this off of it to make way for the new bumper. But that's it. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I hope it was some help to somebody that's maybe thinking of getting one of these. They're really, and a lot of the stuff that you can buy for them, it's unreal. I haven't, you can get lift kits. I haven't done a whole lot. I mean, this is as far as I'm going, I think, with this one. Maybe put a light kit on it. But one thing I'd like to see them do on their future trucks, it ain't gonna help me because I've already got one, but seeing if you see this, maybe that's kind of dated, okay? Take note from Traxxas, why don't you put some kind of latch system where you undo the body and go and get those ugly pins off top of it. That's probably the biggest thing about this that I don't like. Other than that, runs great, really awesome truck. I got a trailer planned for it in the future, but that's it for this video. If you liked what you saw here, please like, share, subscribe. Feel free to comment, ask questions. I'll try to help you out if I can. Anything I didn't show in the video or try to cover. Like I said, I am going to take this thing back apart a screw at a time and put a little Loctite. It was just too big of a mess to try to do while I was filming. You all have a great day. God bless. And we'll see you on the next one.